Hey there! Did you know that 1 in 3 shoppers are already finding empty shelves where their favorite products should be? That's right. We're facing a major grocery disappearing act this March. Listen up, because your shopping list is about to get a serious shakeup. I was just at the store yesterday and couldn't believe what I wasn't seeing on the shelves. And trust me, it's only getting worse. The perfect storm is happening right now. We've got trucking shortages hitting an all-time high this month with over 80,000 unfilled driver positions nationwide. Then there's the seasonal transition that always messes with our food supply. And don't even get me started on those late winter weather disasters destroying crops across the country. Here's the deal. I've done the research so you don't have to. In this video, I'm revealing 12 grocery products that are literally vanishing before March ends. This isn't just speculation. These items are already disappearing from inventory systems nationwide. The good news? I'm also sharing exactly what you need to do about it. Which alternatives work best, what to stock up on now, and how to avoid paying those ridiculous marked up prices that always happen when something gets scarce. So grab a pen, because you'll want to take notes. And if you've already noticed some of these disappearing from your local store, drop it in the comments. Let's see if your area is getting hit first. Let's dive into the 12 grocery products you won't find after March ends. Number 1, seasonal citrus fruits. First up on our disappearing list, those juicy, vibrant winter citrus fruits we've been enjoying all season. Bad news, friends. They're vanishing fast. I talked to a produce manager at Whole Foods last week who confirmed what I was suspecting. Those gorgeous blood oranges that brighten up winter meals, they're already down to their last shipments. Farmers in California and Florida are reporting that their blood orange harvest is wrapping up 2 weeks earlier than usual this year due to the unusually warm January we had. And it's not just blood oranges. Those sweet Cara oranges with their pinkish flesh are disappearing from shelves too. I noticed prices jumped nearly 30% at my local store just this week. Always a telltale sign that supply is dwindling. But the citrus that's vanishing fastest? Meyer lemons. These sweeter, more fragrant cousins of regular lemons are extremely seasonal. And according to the latest industry reports, over 70% of this year's crop has already been harvested and shipped. By the time April hits, they'll be completely gone until next winter. Here's my quick tip. If you see any of these winter citrus fruits, especially blood oranges or Meyer lemons, grab them now. You can actually freeze the zest and juice in ice cube trays. I did this last year and was adding Meyer lemon juice to my summer drinks months later. And if you're a citrus lover like me, stock up on those Sumo citrus mandarin oranges too. They're at their peak sweetness right now, but according to growers, they'll be completely gone by the first week of April. I bought an extra bag yesterday just to be safe. What winter citrus will you miss most? I'm already mourning those blood oranges in my morning smoothies. Number 2, certain chocolate products. Next up, and this one breaks my chocolate-loving heart. Certain chocolate products are vanishing from shelves as we speak. Here's what's happening. Right now, we're stuck in that weird time between Valentine's Day and Easter. Most chocolate manufacturers have already shifted their production lines from those fancy heart-shaped boxes to pumping out chocolate bunnies and eggs. But this year, it's different. I spoke with a store manager at Target last week who confirmed they're seeing unprecedented gaps in their chocolate inventory. Apparently, 3 major cacao-growing regions in Ghana experienced a 22% crop failure this season, the worst in 15 years. Lindt and Ghirardelli are feeling it the hardest. Their premium dark chocolate bars, especially anything above 70% cacao, are disappearing fast. My sister tried to find Ghirardelli's sea salt soiree squares yesterday, and the entire section was empty with one of those "we're sorry" tags. Hershey's announced just last week they're temporarily discontinuing 6 specialty flavors to focus on their Easter production. Those cookies and cream bars that everyone loves, gone until summer at the earliest. And if you're a fan of imported chocolates, brace yourself. Ritter Sport from Germany and those fancy Ferrero collections are facing major shipping delays. The distributor that handles most European chocolate imports is dealing with a warehouse worker shortage of 40%. Boxes are literally sitting at ports, waiting to be processed. So what can you do? First, if you spot any premium dark chocolate, grab it now. Second, consider these alternatives that aren't facing the same supply issues. Trader Joe's house brand chocolates are still well stocked because they use different suppliers. Local chocolatiers are another great option since they don't rely on the same global supply chains. Oh, and here's a little insider tip. Check small pharmacies like CVS or Walgreens. They often have chocolate stocks that grocery shoppers overlook, and I found fully stocked Lindt shelves at my local CVS just yesterday, while the grocery store down the street was completely out. Has anyone else noticed their favorite chocolate disappearing? Let me know in the comments. Now, let's move on to the next vanishing product. Number 3, coffee varieties. Next up, bad news for coffee lovers. That morning brew you can't live without? Several popular varieties are vanishing from shelves as we speak. Brazil and Colombia, which supply over 50% of the world's coffee beans, just reported their worst harvests in 15 years. Those unusual late frosts last December destroyed nearly a third of their young coffee plants. I spoke with my friend who works as a coffee importer last week, and he confirmed it's even worse than what's being reported. Arabica beans are getting hit the hardest. Those specialty single-origin coffees from Ethiopia and Kenya, they're already impossible to find in some stores. I noticed my local grocery completely removed their Ethiopian Yirgacheffe display that had been there for years. What's crazier is that these supply issues aren't just making coffee disappear. They're driving prices through the roof first. If you've bought coffee recently, you've probably noticed those subtle shrinkflations happening. The 12-ounce bags are quietly becoming 10-ounce bags, while prices stay the same? Classic warning sign. According to the latest market reports, medium roast whole beans have jumped 23% in price just in the last month. That's usually the final step before stores can't stock them at all. So, what should you do? First, if you can't start your day without specific coffee varieties, stock up now. But be smart about it. Coffee stays freshest for about 2-3 weeks after opening, but you can extend that to 3-4 months by storing sealed bags in the freezer. Just don't constantly take them in and out, as the temperature changes destroy flavor. Consider trying some Robusta blends too. They're not disappearing as quickly because they're more resilient crops. Sure, they're a bit stronger and more bitter, but they'll keep you caffeinated during this shortage. And here's an insider tip. Check small local roasters. Many aren't connected to the same supply chains as big stores and might have stock when larger retailers don't. I found my favorite Ethiopian beans at a local place last week when the supermarket was completely out. The coffee situation might improve by summer, but for now, those special morning blends are definitely on the endangered list. Don't say I didn't warn you when your favorite variety disappears before April. Number 4, specific frozen seafood items. All right, let's talk frozen seafood. And trust me, this one hits close to home because I just tried to buy my favorite shrimp last weekend. And guess what? Empty freezer case. Here's what's happening right now. March is when many seasonal fishing regulations kick in across North America. The Pacific cod season just ended abruptly on March 8th, 2 weeks earlier than expected, after fishing fleets hit their quotas faster than anyone predicted. This has created a massive ripple effect through the supply chain. Wild-caught salmon stocks are also taking a serious hit. Those beautiful sockeye fillets you love? They're practically vanishing from freezer sections as we speak. The Alaska Department of Fish and Game just announced a 23% reduction in permitted catches compared to last year. But here's the seafood that's disappearing fastest. First, jumbo shrimp, especially the raw, peeled varieties. Grocery buyers are reporting a 40% supply gap that's not filling anytime soon. I noticed Walmart's Great Value jumbo shrimp completely gone from 3 local stores. Second, those convenient frozen fish fillets, particularly cod, haddock, and flounder. Major suppliers like Gorton's and Van de Kamp's are struggling to fulfill orders, with some grocery chains receiving just 60% of what they ordered. Third, and this one surprised me, calamari rings. Apparently, the squid harvest has been disastrous this season. My neighbor, who manages the seafood department at Kroger, told me they haven't received a shipment in over 2 weeks. If you still find these items, here's my advice. Grab them now, but store them right. Keep seafood in the back of your freezer, where temperatures stay most consistent. And here's a trick I use. Wrap store packaging in aluminum foil to prevent freezer burn. This way, your seafood will stay good for up to 6 months. One last tip. If you see any wild-caught Pacific cod or Atlantic haddock, buy it immediately. These two varieties are facing the most severe shortages and likely won't return to normal inventory levels until at least June. Have you noticed empty spaces in the frozen seafood section at your store? Let me know in the comments. Number 5. Certain pasta shapes. Next up on our disappearing list, pasta shapes. I know this sounds crazy, but hear me out. Remember the comfort of twirling those perfect forkfuls of bucatini? Well, enjoy it while you can. According to industry reports from early March, wheat prices have jumped a shocking 17% in just the last month alone due to ongoing drought conditions in key growing regions. Here's what's happening behind the scenes. The major pasta manufacturers are making tough decisions right now. With limited wheat supplies, they're prioritizing their best-selling shapes. Your basic spaghetti, penne, and elbow macaroni. But those specialty shapes? They're getting the axe. Just last week, I noticed my local store was completely out of farfall. You know, those little bow ties my kids love. When I asked the store manager, he confirmed they've been unable to restock several shapes for weeks now. The American Pasta Association released data showing that production of specialty shapes has dropped by nearly 40% compared to this time last year. Their spokesperson actually admitted they're focusing on efficiency over variety until supply chains stabilize. So which shapes are vanishing first? Keep an eye out for bucatini, cavatappi, and those larger stuffable shells. They're already becoming pasta unicorns. And those colorful veggie-infused pastas? Those production lines were among the first to be temporarily shut down. If you're a pasta lover with favorite shapes, I'd seriously recommend grabbing an extra package or two now. Based on current projections, we might not see full pasta shape diversity back on shelves until late summer at the earliest. Has anyone else noticed their go-to pasta shape missing lately? Let me know in the comments. Number 6. Canned vegetables. Let's talk about those canned veggies hiding in your pantry, because they're about to become collector's items. I noticed something strange last week while shopping. Those towers of canned corn and green beans, they're shrinking fast. Here's what's happening. Remember that massive drought that hit the Midwest growing regions last summer? Well, those effects are finally hitting our shelves. Farmers harvested nearly 18% less corn and 22% less green beans than normal, and those warehouses that usually keep us stocked through spring are running on empty. The biggest casualties right now? Canned corn is vanishing first, especially the no-salt varieties. Green beans are following close behind, with major brands like Del Monte and Green Giant already limiting shipments to stores. And those fancy mixed vegetables for stews and soups? Good luck finding those by month's end. Just yesterday, I spoke with a grocery manager who confirmed they're only getting about half their normal shipments. He showed me their inventory system. They're not expecting full restocks until the early summer harvest starts coming in. So, what can you do? First, if these are staples in your home, grab a reasonable supply now. I'm not saying hoard, just be prepared. Second, consider these alternatives. Frozen vegetables actually retain more nutrients anyway, and they're not facing the same shortages. Or hit up your local farmer's market. Those early spring vegetables like spinach and kale are starting to appear. My personal hack? I've started keeping shelf-stable vegetable purees on hand. They work amazingly well in soups and sauces, and nobody seems to be panic buying those yet. Have you noticed these canned goods disappearing in your area? What are you stocking up on instead? Number 7. Limited edition. Winter products. All right, folks, let's talk about something that happens every year, but somehow still catches us by surprise. Those limited edition winter products are disappearing fast. Just last week, I noticed the winter flavor section at my local grocery store was already half empty. Those cozy comfort foods we've been enjoying since November? They're getting the boot to make way for spring items. And it's not just happening at one chain. This is an industry-wide seasonal reset happening right now across the country. According to recent industry reports, Grocery stores typically clear out 75% of their seasonal items by mid-March. I checked with store managers at 3 major chains, and they confirmed they're already marking down winter products to move them out quickly. One manager told me they need to make shelf space for Easter and spring products, which means winter items are being discounted up to 50% just to clear inventory. This is actually good news for us if you catch these deals in time. Swiss Miss just announced they're phasing out their peppermint hot chocolate until next winter. If that's your morning comfort drink, you might want to grab a few boxes now. Their limited edition caramel delight flavor is already gone from most shelves. I actually called their customer service line yesterday, and they confirmed they've already stopped production on winter flavors entirely. So once stores run out, that's it until November. Trader Joe's, which many of us love for their seasonal items, is officially discontinuing their winter wassail punch and maple cookie butter until next year. Their snow-dusted cranberry cookies, already impossible to find in most locations. The Trader Joe's subreddit is full of people desperately searching for these items, with some folks even offering to ship them to other states. That's how serious people are about these limited-time treats. Even the big brands are making the switch. Oreo's winter flavors like peppermint bark are getting pulled, and Hershey's winter mint collection is being replaced with their spring lineup. Those mint hot cocoa kisses that were everywhere in December, almost completely gone now. And here's something most people don't realize. Many of these items won't return in identical form next winter. Brands often tweak their seasonal recipes slightly each year, so this truly might be your last chance to enjoy the exact version you've come to love. Here's a quick tip. If you see any of these winter favorites on clearance, they actually freeze really well. I stocked up on Ghirardelli's peppermint bark squares last year when they hit 70% off and enjoyed them through summer. For cookies and chocolate items, just double bag them in freezer bags to prevent freezer burn, and they'll stay good for months. I've even kept some seasonal items for up to 8 months this way, with no noticeable drop in quality. The hardest hit category this year is definitely winter tea varieties. Bigelow, Celestial Seasonings, and Tazo are all pulling their limited winter blends by month's end. That gingerbread chai you've been loving? Better stock up now. Industry insiders have also confirmed that due to recent supply chain issues with certain spice imports, some of these winter tea blends might be reformulated next year with different ingredient ratios. So if you've got a favorite winter tea blend, this is definitely the time to grab extras. What winter flavor are you going to miss the most? Let me know in the comments, and maybe we can find some year-round alternatives. I've actually discovered a few clever hacks to recreate some of these seasonal flavors at home, so if there's enough interest, I might make a follow-up video sharing those recipes. Number 8. Specific dairy products. Let's talk about dairy, folks. And I'm not crying over spilled milk here, but you might when you hear this news. Cream cheese is hitting a serious rough patch right now. Major producers like Kraft are struggling with labor shortages at their processing plants. Just last week, 3 major distribution centers reported they're operating at only 65% capacity. That Philadelphia cream cheese for your morning bagel? Better grab it while you can. I spoke with a grocery store manager who told me they're getting less than half their normal shipments, and they're selling out within hours of restocking. The cream cheese crisis is so bad that some bakeries are completely revamping their menus to avoid cream cheese-based desserts altogether. And it's not just cream cheese. Premium butter brands are getting squeezed hard too. Remember that massive drought that hit dairy farms in Wisconsin and California last fall? Well, those cows are producing nearly 20% less milk now, and manufacturers are prioritizing basic dairy over specialty butter products. The fancy European-style butter with those high butterfat percentages that make your baked goods taste amazing? They're the first to go when milk supply tightens. One industry insider shared that production of these premium butters has been cut by 40% just to maintain basic butter stock levels. I've already seen prices jump $2 per pound in the last 2 weeks alone. I noticed this myself at 2 different grocery stores this weekend. Those European-style butter brands were either completely gone or limited to 1 per customer. My neighbor, who works at a local bakery, told me they've been scrambling to find alternatives for weeks now. They've started mixing regular butter with a touch of heavy cream in recipes to mimic that rich European-style taste. Smart hack, if you ask me. Here's something wild. Organic milk in half-gallon containers is practically vanishing before our eyes. Producers are focusing on the standard gallon sizes because they're more efficient to produce when resources are tight. According to the latest Dairy Association report released just 10 days ago, organic dairy production is down 13% compared to this time last year, and the smaller organic dairies are being hit the hardest. 3 mid-sized organic producers have actually suspended operations entirely until supply chain issues improve. That means those special local organic brands many of us have come to love are disappearing first. The regional impact is really interesting too. If you live in the Northeast or Pacific Northwest, you're seeing these shortages first. Southern states actually still have decent supply chains for now, but industry experts are saying that won't last past mid-March. I have friends in Boston who are already dealing with dairy sections that look like something from a dystopian movie, half empty with strict purchase limits. Meanwhile, my cousin in Atlanta says they're just starting to see gaps in the dairy case. Geography matters here, folks. And let's talk about specialty cheeses, particularly imported varieties. Those shipping containers full of delicious European cheeses are stuck in ports or being delayed by weeks. Customs processing times have doubled since January, and refrigerated shipping costs have increased by 35% in just 2 months. Your favorite specialty cheese shop might be looking pretty sparse by month's end. The owner of a local cheese shop told me they're already unable to get half their normal inventory, and they're focusing on domestic alternatives just to keep their shelves stocked. So what can you do? I've found some great shelf-stable alternatives that honestly aren't bad. Powdered whole milk works surprisingly well for baking and cooking. I used it last week in mac and cheese, and my kids couldn't tell the difference. The key is to mix it a few hours ahead and let it chill completely. That eliminates that slightly different taste. And here's a pro tip. Add a tiny pinch of vanilla to powdered milk when using it for drinking. It masks that processed flavor almost completely. Canned coconut milk is perfect for smoothies and coffee, and it lasts forever in your pantry. I've started keeping a stash for my morning coffee, and I might even prefer it now. It adds this subtle sweetness that means I don't even need to add sugar anymore. Plus, it's actually more environmentally friendly since it doesn't require refrigeration during shipping or storage, and those shelf-stable Parmalat milk boxes, they taste just like regular milk once they're cold, and you can stock up without worrying about expiration dates. I did a blind taste test with my family using regular milk and Parmalat that had been chilled overnight, and nobody could consistently tell which was which. Seriously, give it a try. Don't wait until your store's dairy case looks like a barren wasteland. These alternatives might seem strange now, but trust me, they'll be looking pretty good when the real stuff is nowhere to be found. I've already started my small stockpile, and I'm sleeping better knowing my morning coffee and weekly baking projects are safe from the coming dairy apocalypse. Has anyone else noticed dairy shortages in their area yet? Drop a comment and let me know what you're seeing. And if you found good alternatives, share them below. We're all in this together. Number 9. Certain imported snacks. Picture this. You're strolling down the snack aisle, craving that unique flavor of your favorite imported treat, only to find an empty shelf. Frustrating, right? Let's dive into why this is happening and what you can munch on instead. In recent times, the snack world has hit a few bumps. Trade policies have tightened, leading to higher tariffs on imported goods. For instance, a 25% tariff hike has made sourcing ingredients like cocoa and nuts more expensive, affecting the availability of many beloved snacks. Mother Nature hasn't been too kind either. Extreme weather events such as droughts and hurricanes have disrupted supply chains. A notable example is the recent dock workers' strike on the East and Gulf coasts, which halted shipments of various goods, including popular snacks. Which popular items are affected? Several fan-favorite snacks have become scarce due to these challenges. Bananas and banana-based snacks. The dock workers' strike disrupted imports of bananas from countries like Guatemala and Ecuador, leading to shortages in banana chips and similar products. Coffee and coffee-flavored treats. Labor strikes and extreme weather have affected coffee bean imports, impacting coffee availability and products like coffee-flavored chocolates. Chocolate products. Tariff hikes and supply chain disruptions have made importing chocolate more costly, leading to reduced availability of certain chocolate brands. Similar domestic alternatives. But don't fret. There are plenty of homegrown goodies to satisfy your snack cravings. Banana chips. While imported varieties are limited, domestic brands offer delicious banana chips sourced from local produce. Artisan chocolates. Local chocolatiers craft exquisite chocolates using regional ingredients, providing a fresh take on classic flavors. Specialty coffee snacks. U.S. snack makers are blending locally roasted coffee into treats like energy bars and desserts, ensuring you get your caffeine fix in delightful forms. So, next time your go-to imported snack is MIA, consider exploring these domestic delights. You might just discover a new favorite while supporting local businesses. Have you noticed any of your favorite snacks missing from the shelves? Share your experiences in the comments below. Number 10. Baking ingredients. All right, bakers, I need to give you a heads up that's going to affect your kitchen creations soon. Number 10 on our list is select baking ingredients that are quietly disappearing from shelves. Have you noticed vanilla extract prices jumping up by nearly 20% in just the last few weeks? That's not a coincidence. Madagascar, which produces over 80% of the world's vanilla, is currently facing the worst drought in 15 years. Farmers are struggling, and vanilla beans are becoming scarce. But it's not just vanilla. Specialty flours are another casualty right now. With wheat harvest down 12% compared to last year, mills are prioritizing all-purpose flour production. This means those specialty flours, your almond flour, coconut flour, and specialty grain flours, are getting pushed to the back of the production line. I was talking to my friend who works at a local bakery yesterday, and she told me they've had to change 3 recipes because they can't reliably get the specialty flours they need anymore. Crazy, right? And don't even get me started on chocolate chips. With cocoa prices hitting a 46-year high this month, manufacturers are scaling back production of premium chocolate chips. Those fancy 60% cacao chips you love for your cookies? They're becoming a luxury item. Here's what you need to do. If you're a regular baker, grab these items now. Store vanilla extract in a cool, dark place. It basically lasts forever. For specialty flours, transfer them to airtight containers and keep them in the freezer to extend shelf life up to a year. And chocolate chips can be frozen for up to 8 months without losing quality. I personally bought an extra bottle of vanilla and 2 bags of my favorite chocolate chips last week. The price difference was already noticeable compared to January. What's your must-have baking ingredient that you'd hate to see disappear? Let me know in the comments. Number 11. Condiments and sauces. Let's talk about something that might hit your taste buds hard. Your favorite condiments and sauces are disappearing from shelves. I noticed this last week when I couldn't find my go-to hot sauce anywhere. The biggest culprit? Sriracha. Yes, that iconic rooster bottle. Haiphong Foods is still dealing with massive chili pepper shortages that started in 2023. Their production is down nearly 60% according to industry reports, and stores are already limiting purchases to 2 bottles per customer in many regions. But it's not just sriracha. Several specialty mustards and aiolis are vanishing too. That fancy truffle aioli you love? The Italian truffle harvest was devastated this year by unusual weather patterns, and manufacturers just can't get the raw ingredients. Here's what's happening behind the scenes. Glass bottle manufacturing is facing a perfect storm. There's a silica sand shortage, yes, the stuff they make glass from, plus energy costs for bottle production have jumped 43% in just 3 months. One major condiment manufacturer told suppliers they're switching to plastic temporarily, but that transition is causing massive delays. The restaurant industry is making things worse too. They're buying up retail-sized condiments in bulk because their usual commercial suppliers can't meet demands. Next time you're at a restaurant and see those retail bottles on your table, that's why. Want to stay ahead of this? Here's a super simple homemade sriracha recipe I've been using. Blend together 8 red jalapenos, or Fresno chilies, 4 garlic cloves, 2 tablespoons brown sugar, 1 tablespoon salt, and 1/3 cup vinegar. Simmer for 10 minutes, then blend again until smooth. It keeps for weeks in the fridge and honestly tastes even better than the bottled stuff. For mayo-based sauces, start with a basic mayo. Store-bought is fine if you can find it. And add your own flavors. Roasted garlic, herbs, or even a dash of soy sauce can transform it into something special. The silver lining? This shortage is pushing more people to experiment with homemade versions. My neighbor actually started a local condiment swap in our community where everyone brings their homemade sauces to trade. What condiment would you miss the most? Drop it in the comments. I might have a homemade recipe to share with you. Let's talk about number 12 on our list. Those limited-time beverages that are about to vanish from the shelves. You know those specialty coffee drinks you've been enjoying all winter? Well, they're on their way out, folks. According to industry reports from last week, major coffee chains are already phasing out their winter menu items to make room for spring flavors. Starbucks is pulling their pistachio cream cold brew by month's end, and Dutch Bros is saying goodbye to their popular Snowberry Rebel. But it's not just coffee. Remember those limited edition Mountain Dew gingerbread snapped sodas? Distribution centers have stopped restocking them completely. I checked 3 stores yesterday, completely gone from 2 and just 4 bottles left at the 3rd. What's really shocking is what's happening with hot chocolate varieties. Swiss Miss just announced they're discontinuing their peppermint hot chocolate until next winter, and store managers I spoke with confirmed their last shipments have already arrived. No restocks are coming. Here's a tip from someone who works at a major grocery distributor. Those seasonal seltzers with winter flavors like cranberry and cinnamon are being clearanced out right now to make shelf space for spring varieties. If you love them, this is literally your last week to stock up. And don't forget about those limited edition international imports. Those specialty European winter teas that appeared during the holidays. The importers have confirmed they won't be bringing in more until next November. My advice? If there's a seasonal drink you absolutely love, grab it now. I'm not kidding, like today. I've started buying my favorites in bulk and storing them in my pantry. Those Tazo glazed lemon loaf teas? I bought 8 boxes yesterday at 30% off because the manager said they wouldn't be getting more. What winter drink will you miss the most? Drop it in the comments. I'm curious which ones you're sad to see go. All right, folks, let's quickly recap these 12 grocery products vanishing from shelves before March ends. From seasonal citrus fruits to specialty coffee varieties, pasta shortages to limited-time beverages, this month is seriously shaking up our shopping carts. And as I mentioned earlier, those supply chain issues and seasonal transitions aren't getting better anytime soon. I don't know about you, but I'm heading to the store right after finishing this video. After researching this topic for days, I've seen the writing on the wall. Those empty spots on shelves? They're only going to multiply. The good news is that you're now prepared. You know exactly what's disappearing and when. Remember, for most of these items, there are decent alternatives out there. Don't panic buy, but definitely grab your favorites while you still can. Here's my final tip. Check smaller, local grocery stores for these vanishing products. They often get overlooked during shortages and might still have stock when the big chains are completely out. If you found this helpful, please hit that like button. It really helps the channel, and I'd love to know which of these disappearing products will hit your household the hardest. Drop a comment below with the item you'll miss most. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.